Good afternoon, everybody. My name's James, and welcome to Planet FPL Game Week 16 Deadline stream. And it's live. We are just under an hour away until the Game Week 16 deadline of 1:30 p.m. UK time. I know many of you will be on wildcard, so am I. First wildcard had to be used. It has been used. You can see my team in the top right hand corner of your screen. So my wildcard team confirmed is Sam Johnston, and which other goal did I go for? Alex McCarthy. I'm going to play McCarthy in goal this week at home to West Ham. Defensively, I've still gone for Trent and Robertson. Can't help myself. Most of you will know that by now. I've gone Charlie Taylor, James Justin, who I don't think starts at Crystal Palace today. And I've gone for Fpl, has managed to slide his way in there instead of Balbuena. I can move around the money, to be honest. I don't think it was worth paying for Cresswell. I've gone for Fpl for the little bit more potential of attacking returns. Midfield, the headline news is Heung-min Son is gone. Bruno Fernandes is in now, along with Thomas Souček, Rafinha. Ademola Lookman has snuck in. Mohamed Salah, captain. Harry Kane is back in. To be honest with you, if I had any confidence that Jamie Vardy would play at Crystal Palace today, he would have been in his stead. I've also gone with Patrick Bamford is now in to join Che Adams. That is set up with the intention to obviously bench boost the team in game week 19. If I walk into no problems, I will almost definitely sell Harry Kane for Jamie Vardy in game week 17. If I need to take a hit to make that move in game week 19, I will also do so. I imagine that problems will arise, and therefore I've picked a team that's ready to go for 19 and also shapes up well for the next couple of weeks, I believe. Because problems will arise, there's no doubt about it. If I'm in a luxury situation where I can move Charlie Taylor out of my team, for example, in game week 19 because I've got a difficult double, I'll do so. Love the fixtures he's got beforehand. If I can't get him out, no problem. They've still got a double and they're still Burnley. So that's my wildcard team. That is locked in. There is nothing that's going to happen in the next hour that's going to change that, he says. Thanks as ever to Chris, FPL Captain, who's on the graphics. You can give him a follow on his Twitter handles up there, top left-hand corner. And on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you will see my top 10 captaincy selections for the game week in order of preference. Mohamed Salah tops that chart. Absolutely no doubt in my mind about it. Genuinely. It wasn't even a debate of, oh, I'm going with Kane, let's stick the armband on him. If you haven't got one of the Liverpool boys, I think Harry Kane's very reasonable for the game week. Of course, it's Fulham at home. I just think Newcastle are there to be smashed at the moment. And I think they might walk into a very angry Liverpool on Wednesday night. So Salah captain was a very straightforward choice for myself. Obviously, there's other good alternatives. Bruno's got a home fixture, but Wolves is Wolves. KDB, I think, probably plays again today, and I think Raheem Sterling probably does as well. Actually, I have a sneaky that Raheem Sterling might play up front today for Manchester City. Decent options, obviously. But I think Salah, for me, would be top choice. Right, we've got 55 minutes to the deadline. Let's get into the chat while my wife has a heart attack by the sounds of it with my child. Hope she'll be okay by the time this deadline stream's finished. Let's get into the queues. Edwin Guan says, hello, James, I like your hat. Edwin, how are you always first? Fair game. Pushcast says, afternoon, James. Tinkering hat on with wildcard active question. With money not being an issue, would you prefer Fabianski or McCarthy on wildcard bench boost 19? I would prefer McCarthy with a rotation, which is what I've gone for. Fabianski's double in 19 is obviously the standout. But then I think you can probably use the other defensive guys. One thing about Fabianski in that double game week, that could be 2 clean sheets. Of course it could. Shot saves, probably not too many, I shouldn't think. I like the potential of a keeper who can make a load of saves in a game week, like Martinez did at the weekend, for example. I also think he's regressing a little bit as a goalkeeper, to be fair. And I think, obviously, in the likes of Fpl and Balbuena, there are cheaper options you can look for, whereas McCarthy is at similar price to sort of Bednarek, Cole, Walker, Peters. So that's kind of what edged the decision for myself. Alistair Coper, hi James, you got this spot on last week. Start Souček or Harrison, like the wildcard side, as I have 13. That's interesting. Not Not straightforward, because obviously it's West Brom away for Harrison. I just think small chance that Harrison gets rotated as well. Although I think Leeds and West Ham will probably pick strongest sides again, but West Ham just can't rotate Souček or Declan Rice. So Souček gets the nod. Planting seeds. Morning, boss man. I hope I find you well. Harvey Barnes question: look quick, dynamic, and hungry versus United. Seems to be overlooked by the community. Have you had many thoughts over him? A little bit. I probably would have gone Maddison first, to be very honest with you. I know he rose in price last night and is beginning to prove popular. I think Maddison and Barnes have probably burnt most of us at one stage or another, to be honest with you. But James Maddison did very good for me sort of in the autumn period of the previous season. So probably would have preferred Maddison because Barnes is just so frustrating. He plays great and then he's not in the team. I think, honestly, that Leicester team today, there could be 1 or 2 changes, or there could honestly be 9 or 10 changes. I think they might change the whole team at Palace. Very close to. The predicted team that I did for my advanced tier patrons only had Schmeichel, Evans and Fofana staying in the team. So I had 8 changes. I genuinely think they'll change the whole attacking lineup. So that's really put me off the likes of Barnes and Maddison. I could have that completely wrong, but that's my guess. Edwin Grand, KDB and Watkins out for Rafinha and Kane from -4. Not loving that, Edwin. If you haven't got Salah Mane and it's because you want to put the armband on Harry Kane, then fine, reasonable enough. I'd be more looking to just move the funds around a little bit slower, to be honest. There are other good players at Watkins' value if you don't have a Bamford or a Che Adams, Chris Wood, great fixture today. Seems more sensible. Come down to sort of like the locks of Rodrigo, I know is proving popular for some. And then potentially move off KDB. The one thing about KDB, I know no one wants him at the moment, but that run from game week 18 to game week 22 is unbelievable for KDB. Monster good. And I think we need to be aware of that. Craig Gardner says, hi James, good luck for this week on wildcard marginal decision, Trent versus Robbo. So I said on the last stream I would prefer Trent. I said on the podcast last night, if it came to one, I would go Robertson now, actually. So reluctantly, just an edge for Robertson at the moment with the way Liverpool are playing. Elliot says KWP, Taylor or Soufal, who to bench. He definitely played Charlie Taylor from that, and then I think KWP then Soufal, that's your order. HM, who to captain. Bottom right hand side of the screen you might find a clue. Infamous FPL said good morning James. Atul Balaji, what are the odds of Madders starting? 40%, I'd say. Jovial, I have 1 free transfer and I have Watkins, Grealish, Bamford in my team. Planning for double game week 19. Should I roll the transfer? Which player should I transfer in? Your suggestion, James. Thanks. So, Grealish is more than reasonable to carry through, and so is Ollie Watkins. They're both fine. I talk a lot about having at least decent single game week players if they haven't got a double in 19, and Grealish and Watkins have Everton at home. It's fine. I feel it's a good time to come off Villa though. Chelsea away, Man United away. It does feel like the right time after a brilliant run of fixtures if you want to move away. I'd be sacrificing Watkins first. Genuinely, I would have no issue moving Watkins to Che Adams. Even though it's Liverpool afterwards for Che Adams, I think that's a decent move. Chris Wood in the immediate for the next 2 fixtures looks great, right? So there's options there. Grealish, I think you're probably coming down in value. You're coming down to Rafinha's, Souček's, and then spreading your money. So one option might be Grealish down to sort of Souček level. Watkins, does it get you up? How high does it get you up in value? Does it get you ready for Jamie Vardy? Do you even look at Grealish to Souček now, perhaps Watkins to Vardy at the weekend? Depends what you've got money-wise. That's possibly not enough. Justin Dice says, morning James, hope you're well and your wildcard team is good to go. Feels weird for me to not have Spurs and to take a punt on Martinelli. FPL Najib says, hello. Emerald Pilot, good morning James. Good luck on your wildcard. I was still at my kitchen table about 1 a.m. to listen to your podcast. Back to game week 16, DCL to Adams or Wood as preparation for game week 19 and start Martinez or McGrath. The better immediate buy is probably Chris Wood. There's a couple of reasons I've got Che Adams instead. One is I bought at 5.9. I also prefer his double to Chris Wood's double. Essentially, the last choice for my team was I going to go Kane or Wood? which obviously doesn't sound straightforward. You go obviously Harry Kane, but then Ademola Lookman, for example, would have been a much more expensive midfielder. I think the doubt over Marcus Rashford is probably what clinched it, actually. When I did the pod last night, I completely forgot that he suffered a potential shoulder injury right at the end of the game against Leicester. And that would be too... I'm not saying he won't play, but it would be too much of a risk, therefore, for me on what I'm doing at the moment. I can always go back to that if necessary. So, to be honest, on the immediate, it's probably Chris Wood. Do prefer Che Adams' double. From there, what's more important to you? What happens next or what happens in 19? That would be the answer, I think. Tiffy Ferreira, FPL Cup qualification round starts today. I'll pray that we both qualify for the first round. To be honest, I'm quite happy to go out in round 1. I mean, I don't want to have a shit game week rank today, but sod the cup, and no one cares. Savanch Singh, DCL to Bamford and Forster to Pope for a -4. Plan is to play Pope for the next 2, then free hit 18 and bench boost 19 false. I don't mind that at all, Savanch. I mean, if you're bench boosting, you need to get another keeper from somewhere. If you go to Nick Pope, the advice would be to stay on Nick Pope, I think. Zari said, it's nice talking to you again, my friend. Is Salah or Bruno better captain pick for you? Greetings from Greece. You know Zaris. Bottom right-hand corner. And my team. Clues all round. FPL Andy. Which player to play out of Diaz, Souček or Armstrong? City, I don't think will rotate as heavily as I did pre the Newcastle game. It was just a glorified training session for them. So at the moment, I think the back line, I think probably left back they'll probably change, but I think Cancelo, Diaz and Stones, a strong possibility they play again. So Diaz in, definitely. I think at the moment you'd have to go Souček or Armstrong, wouldn't you? So if you're looking for an order for them, Diaz and Souček and Armstrong. Savanch says play Taylor or Dallas. Charlie Taylor, definitely. Yeah, if you've got Charlie Taylor this week, stick him in. Anything Burnley defensive, you've got to play, really, I think. FPL telling Josh, morning James, last decision on my wildcard is Kane or Bobby as the placeholder for Vardy in 19. Bobby lets me keep Cancelo this week. Kane means downgrading to Balbuena. Thoughts? I'd go Kane. And Balbuena. Get it ready. Don't plan ahead too far in the transfers because shit is going to go wrong. And you're going to have to put out another fire. And then you're probably, I've got Cancelo for a potential bench boost. Does he even play against Palace in 19? That's the scary with someone like that. It's easy to think now he plays. If he has this big run and Cole Walker's out, and then what happens by the time we get to 19, there's a good chance you're going to want to move it on. You'll feel compelled to do that, most probably. So I think go Harry Kane, Josh. Lucas says, good morning, James. What do you think about going Salah Mane double up with a cheap forward instead of Kane or Vardy up front and wildcard? Absolutely reasonable. If I wasn't going double defence, Mane would be in with Salah for me at the moment, and I'd look to move probably Mane on straight away in game week 20 would be the thinking. In famous FPL, should I transfer out Reese James for Cancelo or just keep him? Well, that depends on your strategy. So these questions are almost near on impossible to answer unless I know that. So Cancelo, if you're heading towards a bench boost in 19, you probably don't want to go to Cancelo now. That doesn't really make sense. You just keep Reece James. Again, another one I think probably gets rotated today. But you just suck it up. So I don't think you're sticking, mate. If you're heading towards 18, make the transfer. Arif says, hi James, which one should I start? Souček, Walker Peters or Lookman? Thanks. I'd go Souček, Walker Peters, Lookman in the order you've written them. Ike Jeffo, g'day James, thoughts on Firmino as a differential in the wild card. Don't mind it if it's short-term thinking and you've got a plan to move on after the double, if that's what you're heading towards. Otherwise, not great. It's not a good FPL price. Because the alternatives are a little bit more expensive or significantly cheaper. And also, he's one of the rare entities in FPL this year where you go, he's overpriced. As a short term, to get you a third Liverpool player or something, I don't mind it at all. But it's short term thinking. Shamil Galani says, morning James, benching Delima, benching one, Grealish, DCL or Souček. What the fuck have you done with your team, mate? Even with this, I'd play DCL. Honestly, even with City today, from that I'd play DCL. Then Grealish second, Souček third. But I want to find a different solution. Jack Grealish or Dominic Calvert-Lewin, in my opinion, aren't really players you should be leaving on the bench for any fixture. Put it this way, if Everton score today, who's likely to get it? Just simple as that. Victor Sandberg, hey James, please share your thoughts on Ben Johnson from West Ham, 3.9 million defender. Do you think he will play in the double game week? So, We covered this a bit on the podcast last night, and I obviously understand not everyone's had the chance to listen to that. We spoke about how bad West Ham were in the first half, what needed to change in the second half. I felt the whole system felt very forced. I thought the tempo was very slow, particularly with the idea that obviously there's another game coming up very quickly against Southampton on Tuesday for them, so 48-hour turnaround. I think there's every chance to go to a back four. I realise it's exciting. 3.9 million defender who's just scored, potentially playing wing back. Does he play the double game week? I don't even know if he plays tomorrow. If West Ham stay with a back three, there's a good chance. I think that the tactical system that they deployed yesterday might have been part to counteract the fact they thought that Brighton would play a three and were worried about the domination Brighton would have with the ball. West Ham's next 5 opponents at least will all play a back four. And therefore, I think they'll probably go back to a back four. If they go back to a back four, Johnson won't play. If you want to take that gamble and be a hero, be my guest. If they stay with a back three, you've got every chance. If they don't, then he won't. The thing is, Balbuena's 0.5 more. Do we need to be a hero about it? Reese Smith says, why don't you have faith in Vardy starting? I think Leicester will change the whole team. Near enough, I really do. They did this last Christmas. They played West Ham away. I think it was 2 days after they got battered by Liverpool, the Trent game. And they made 10 changes away to West Ham. They still won, by the way. They made 10 changes. Most of them didn't even travel. And I'm not saying it will be to quite that extent, but I think particularly in Jamie Vardy's case, because of his ongoing hip problems, his age, his difficulty in recovering from games, doesn't train as much as many of the other players, is what I'm led to believe, particularly in recovery. Not so much in the build-up to game, but in recovery. He's given a bit more time, his own individual plan. And there are quotes which you can find from Brendan Rodgers released this morning that says, I am not going to risk a player that plays 48 hours after a previous game and risk them getting injured for 2 months. I really don't think Jamie Vardy plays. And do you know what? If he plays, I'll put my hands up. But I think the theory behind what I'm saying is correct. Joshua Tan. Hi, James. Merry Christmas. A little late, but appreciate that, Josh. Any reason why Salah over Kane for captain? Yep. Spurs are shit. I think Liverpool will go fucking ape this week. There's not even a debate in my mind on this one. It's so straightforward for me. Listen, if I'm wrong and Harry Kane goes mental, no one will be more pleased. He's in the wild card because I think he's capable of doing things in the next 2 game weeks. So, look, of course he's capable. I just think Newcastle are ready to be absolutely smashed at the moment, and I think they'll get an angry Liverpool. Newcastle can see more chances than any other team, basically. Salah's not shy and shooting. Fulham are getting much better. It's actually very straightforward for me at the moment. Pushkar says, thoughts on this move? Get Firmino on wildcard away to Newcastle and switch to Vardy next for away to Newcastle as well. Double game week coming. Very reasonable. Sound strategy, Pushkar. Haiku says, this year in FPL Cup, a lot of dead teams will get eliminated early because of blank game week 18, double game week 19. Let's go for silverware, James. Your expectations? Well, I don't think I'll go out in round 1. I might go out in round 2. Depends what I've got. Actually, to be honest, of the game weeks coming up, game week 17 is going to be the worst for me. So, look, I should get in the top 4 million this game week. It depends on me. I could well get beat in game week 17. It's just not worth worrying about. Fuck it. Chris Duckworth, morning James. Real benching headache this week after wildcarding ready for 19. Ripwick 1998 McCarthy Johnson. I don't want to hear your old teammate. It's too much. Information period. Hi man, how are you? I'm thinking to transfer out Grealish and get Rafinha. What you suggest? Well, I guess you could argue that I've made that exact move on the wild card. If it's just single free transfer, I don't mind it. You're walking into a switch of fixtures, which is decent. If you're planning for 19, seems absolutely fine. Pushkar, is Reese James the best pick under 5.2? If I have the luxury of benching him tonight with rumours of a rest, his injury situation is so confusing. Any other options with bench boost in mind? Charlie Taylor to Reese James is a move I've got in mind. If I can make it, if I can't, I won't. That's kind of where I'm at. So I would potentially make that move actually in game week 17 and do similar and just probably bench Reese James, play Justin away to Newcastle. Let's get through this week first and see how it lies. But in terms of getting him in and leaving him on the bench, I mean, it's fine. It's a player that I would have liked to have had, but I just felt if I went Reece James now, I was leaving myself not in a great position this week. I want to take advantage of the Burnley defensive, particularly this week, and then I'll assess afterwards in terms of how I feel. Encyclopedia Singh, morning James, don't fancy Wood over Ingsless Adams. No, I prefer Che Adams' double. I owned Chris Wood earlier in the season. This brain damage, owning the Burnley forward. I do think, look, great fixtures now, not the best double. As I do explain, I've got a little bit of value in Che Adams as well. Danny Ings, because the game is on Monday, Danny Ings has got a chance of being back for Liverpool as well. That will help. So if they're back together for the double, I quite fancy that. With the fixtures that Saints have got in the double, Leicester away, Leeds away, I think Che Adams can have some joy in those two games actually. So that's the call I've made. Decent 2 home games afterwards as well after game week 19. So that's the call I've made, is to go with Che Adams. Wasn't straightforward though, I'll be honest. Mohamed Ali, Lord Linden after Palace. How many of the following 5 games will Vardy play? All of them. Don't see why he wouldn't. 3-4 day turnarounds are fine. I don't think he plays all of them. So the spacing, I think their spacing from Southampton to Chelsea in the double, I think, is 4 days. So that shouldn't be an issue. He'll play all of them. Just don't think he plays today. No, we're not doing that captaincy one, mate. Sorry, pal. James C. Hi, James. Arsenal, can we go there? Those fixtures, but I had 3 hit in 18, so I'm not sure. Yes, you can. I think it's fine. They've got the best next 4 fixtures overall, just ignoring chips and strategy and stuff. No doubt about that. Yes, you can. I'm sure Aubameyang will be back in the team tomorrow night if you're feeling fruity. Saka's nice and cheap. Martinelli's nice and cheap. Unfortunately, defensively, you're probably going to be paying the extra for Tierney while you work out what the defensive situation is, with obviously Gabriel set to return in 18. David Luiz ill, but was he? If I can speculate. Pablo Mari potential knock as well late in the game. I know he struggled through the Chelsea victory, so it's probably Tierney if we're going defensively. Bellerin's obviously got favouritism over Maitland-Niles at the moment, but I know a lot of Arsenal fans would like that to change. So, but yeah, you can go there. It's great 4 fixtures. If you want to go for Arsenal, go for Arsenal. Bloomer says, should I bring in Aubameyang? There you go, just answered that. The answer is probably not, no. But if you're heading for 18, then yeah, I would do it. Healy's vids, surprised Aubameyang made that list. Way to Brighton. Ain't won at home since June, since they beat Arsenal, ironically. 1 in, 1 go. Is Pope and Taylor too much? No. Rowan S, greeting James, love your planning. Who'd start, Sufel or Bednarek? Bednarek, in my opinion. Kieran Thompson, Aubameyang sneaking into the captain's pick. Love that. Lost in my head-to-head game because of the Saiz goal. Not happy. Guess what? I wasn't fucking happy about that goal either, Kieran. Fucking team does my head in. GF, morning James. I'm selling Dominic Calvert-Lewin and KDB for Son and Kane without any hits. I have Mahrez as my City coverage. Do you have any concerns in regards to Spurs' attack performance? I have loads of concerns. I think the two will probably perform well. Let me put it to you like this. If you ask me prediction, how many goals the Spurs get in the next 2 games, I will go for 4. Now, the goal last night was the first goal that one of them's not been involved in since Gareth Bale's goal against Brighton in game week, I want to say 8 or 7. Game week 7 maybe? Game week 8? One of them. So, Spurs score 4 goals in the next 2 games. Kane and Son's expected involvement for the 2. I guess goal involvement of 2 each, right? As an average expectation. Return a game is very reasonable. But you probably want a bit more out of captaincy option. That's all I'd say off that. Andrew Moore, I'm wildcarding this week. 1 week punt on Aguero or Firmino. Bringing in Vardy in game week 17. Unfortunately, it's Firmino, mate. Unfortunately, be surprised if Aguero did start. Be surprised if he played more than an hour at max. Jack Wilson benched 2 out of the 4. Sufel, DCL, Bowen, KWP. Benched the 2 defensive guys, mate. Lamichi, hi James, by Souček or Rafinha. I would prioritise Souček personally. Bossman 525. Not tempted on Mane. Only if I was ditching Trent, for example, then yeah, I'd have had him in, but. Too much imbalance, would cut me off another captaincy option. So as well as I think I'll probably captain Bruno in 17, Kane or Vardy are obviously alternative options. If I threw Mane in with Fernandes or Salah, I'm cutting me off that forward player and the alternative captaincy for the weekend. FPL Ibro, how's it going, James? Good luck with the wildcard team. Who to play this game week, Sufal or Chilwell? I think you played Chilwell, don't you? Hans Petter Forstundson. Hello, James. You think Antonio will come in soon? The rumour is that Antonio was doing shooting drills after the game yesterday on the pitch with the intention that he'll be a substitute tomorrow. That's the thinking. MAS, what do you think about Justin? No more than 50% to start today. But he's in my squad. Decent option. I like what I've got afterwards, obviously, with a Newcastle fixture, so that rotates really nice for me if I was to go, say, Taylor to Reese James at the weekend. 2 home fixtures in the double. They've not been great at home, but that's very reasonable. I think he's the standout. The lack of Ricardo Pereira's return makes me feel more comfortable that at the moment he stays in that team. I feel like he started every game, actually. So, should be okay. I was half tempted to put him in the team today over a Souček or Rafinha, but I just think there's a strong possibility it's a one-pointer, and that's why I've made that decision to leave him on the bench. Francis Bellardi, will I get him Maddison replace with Grealish? Yes or no, and Happy New Year, James. If that's one free transfer that you're looking to make, Francis, I would roll it one more week and just play Grealish today and then make that move at the weekend. Matthew Hall, hi James, who would you play this week, Johnson or Martinez? Johnston, probably just. Lee Jackson, Captain Mane or Sterling for the differential team. I've gone for Mane, mate. Damian Rosowski, I've dropped in 500,000 in rank in the last 2 game weeks. What should I do now, James? Find more points. MAS, what do you think about Justin? Okay, if I see you pop up again, you'll be getting muted. FPL Quentin, hi James, non-FPL related, but who is your favourite Spurs player of all time since supporting Spurs? That is the great Ledley King. Jonathan Aves, worth going Martinez to Pope until game week 20. Don't hop on and off with goalkeepers. If you're looking to go back, okay, you've got 2 great fixtures of Pope and then the double, and then you want to go back. I can see the fear in them. Martinez walks into Burnley. You make that move in game week 20 with Pope and Martinez playing each other. That's a recipe for disaster. I don't mind the move. I've obviously just sold Martinez on a wild card, but generally speaking, don't fuck about with your goalkeepers unless it's to, I presume it's to get you a double game weeker and the timing is good. I don't mind the move. What I'd say is don't be thinking about going back. Just accept it. Ritwick says, who to play out of Souček or Rafinha? Go Souček. John McManus, how do you like Taylor and Loughton double up on wildcard to attack the Sheffield United game? Keep up the great work. I know Suja's gone for Loughton. I've obviously gone for Charlie Taylor. Loughton is a little bit more at risk in terms of Bardsley maybe nicking his place, which I think is another reason to go for Charlie Taylor personally. But Dyche tends to not change the team when they're doing well. They're very unfortunate at the weekend, so certainly would expect Loughton to retain his shirt. I don't mind it. I think you probably, if you just be conscious, if you lose all your money to get away from Loughton, might be difficult because Balbuena will probably get a price rise in the next week or so. So I just make sure you leave a bit of money to fix it if it becomes a problem. Padden well, why to have 2 Liverpool defenders? Why not? The thinking with Trent and Robbo generally is great fixture this week. Again, Matip being injured is fucked. Difficult fixture away to Southampton, but you know, as kind of been mentioned in terms of why going Adams over Wood at the moment. Southampton in front of goal have just blanked in the last 2, so wouldn't rule it out. Vestergaard missing in terms of delivery into the penalty box, which Southampton have defended very well this season. And then it's the double. And then at that point, come game week 20, I probably will remove one of them. So I'm looking at it going Newcastle away, Southampton away, double game week. Let's assess afterwards. And that's why I've made that move. And I want 3 Liverpool, I don't care. And as I said, Mane blocks to Kane or Vardy up front at the moment. Sven van den Akker, hi James, love your streams, great work. Would you play Martinez or Johnson? So Johnson said previously. Half hour call till deadline, guys. Alex Sava, I have Meslier and Johnston ready for the double in 19. Who should I start this week? Meslier, I think. Just Patrick Lawson, need a blank game week player in for Strike. 4.9 million budget. Would you prefer Holgate or Holding? Stone's too risky in my opinion. I'm afraid, Patrick, the answer to that will be Stones, but I understand planning for the blank you probably want to make the Manchester City decision as late as possible. I get that. So blank game week defender 4.9 or under probably rules you out. Arsenal, you're not going to be able to get there. Dyer, are you? To be honest, Stones is the best call. It genuinely probably is the best call from that. Do you really want to go for Sheffield United or Newcastle? But Jamal Lewis has got an awful 2 games. I know he didn't play at City, but he should come back in the team. He's obviously cheap as decent fixtures in away to Sheffield United. So if it's just someone you're going to bench in the next couple of weeks, Jamal Lewis is not the worst call, I'd say. Genuinely, I would probably go for Stones, mate. Problem is, it's going to restrict you City-wise. Strike, there's obviously every chance he plays away to West Brom again this week. If you can roll that, Patrick, I'd roll it. Obviously, if you're on wildcard, you maybe need to make a different call. Tom Bolton, Areola seems to rotate nicely with Johnson. Bad pick for a bench boost keeper. Not at all, actually, no. I was going to go Areola and Johnson and changed my mind to go to McCarthy. Just a little bit more faith in Southampton defensively in terms of fixtures. And when they have the really tough ones, actually West Brom and Johnston have decent cover, to be honest. So like when Southampton play Liverpool, Johnston's got Arsenal at home. It's not the worst. Well, obviously Areola's away to Burnley. Could argue that's a better cover. Further down the line, which I'm looking further, with Southampton away to Manchester United. Johnston's got Sheffield United away. So there's fours and againsts for all of them. I decided to go with McCarthy. I got in before the price rise. I'll get Johnson. Will probably go up in price tonight as well, so I'll get that. I did a brave move last night because I sold Martinez this morning and got Johnson. They both were going to go up in price last night according to the algorithms. The one thing I've learned on these is when there's heavy wildcard usage, like there probably is at the moment, a player like Johnson is being backed by wildcarders. He's less likely to go up than someone who's probably being sold on wildcard. So took the chance that Martinez would go up last night and Johnston wouldn't, which didn't. So that earned me a nice little 0.1. That feels like the bit that I've already won this game week. I think Areola is genuinely very, very reasonable to go for. They do have difficult fixtures. Obviously, walk straight into Tottenham. Burnley, Brighton, West Brom are 3 away games. You might be keen to use him though. And obviously the double if you're bench boosting, of course. Alfredo says, can Sheffield United avoid relegation and get 3 wins in their next 3 matches? Well, I think that's what they need now. Sheffield United's fixtures after the next 3 are Tottenham, Manchester United, Manchester City are the 3 afterwards. There's no time left to fuck about for them. I genuinely... I think if they get 7 points in the next 3, that will give them a sniff. I think they need 9. I really do. Because then it's Blake. After that, I got a big game with West Brom, game at 22, and then it's Chelsea. It's just not looking great for them at all. You can't see them winning the games at the moment. Mohamed Ali, Lord Linden, opinions on double league strike force, Bamford and Rodrigo. I know Rodrigo's proving very popular to those in the stats at the moment. For those like me who like to keep the game a little bit more simple, he obviously got withdrawn after about 58 minutes yesterday. That's a bit of a blow. I'm not keen, personally, on Rodrigo. Padam Whale, you've asked that question already, mate. Let's not have repeat questions. You're denying others. Tim Wilton Davis, hi, how much did you leave in your FPL bank in case of needing transfer players? Added about 1.1 million, I think, Tim. So there's contingency there. And obviously, if I go Kane to Vardy, it's going to be nearly 2 million at game week 17 to then make a big move in 19 if I need to. That's the thinking at the moment. One in, one go. Is Reese Williams viable? One, we don't know how long Matip's injured. That if he was going to play every week at that price for Liverpool, then yes, of course he's viable. He's also not very good. I don't think so. I think he picks Williams or Phillips dependent on opponent. And genuinely, I think in a game like Newcastle this week where they have so much of the ball, I think they might just play Jordan Henderson at centre-back. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Rahan says Diaz and Martial or Kane and Balbuena on wildcard. Martial, Kane will go for Vardy for the double. It's probably a little bit dependent on what you're doing captaincy-wise, Rohan. You're probably not sticking it on Martial. Do you intend to put it on Kane in one of the next 2? If so, then that's the call for you. If not, probably Diaz and Martial. Rob Warner, all the best, mate. Cheers for the content. Thank you. Just seen Jazz. Hi, James. Order of preference starting. Robbo. I mean, obviously. Chilwell. Yep, obviously. Dallas, Taylor, Soufal. So it's Robbo, Chilwell, Taylor, mate. In famous FPL, Podence or James Justin to start? Based on what I've been saying about Leicester, I think it's Podence, mate. But I mean, on the fixture, it's probably James Justin. Stian says, seeing how it went. That said, United might have issues right-hand side defence, so go Podence. Stian Bosdale, seeing how it went capping Salah game week 15, would you differentiate with Bruno or Son this week? Clearly not. Team's on the screen, my friend. Back in Salah again. And you know what? If he blanks at Newcastle, I'll probably then just lock him in for captain against Southampton as well. Al Dancy says, went Constant, Alioski, KDB, Sterling for free. Nice. Abu says, Martinelli, I think a good choice. Nicky Kassam, wildcard. Hold Kane and go Barnes in midfield. Or downgrade Kane to Rodrigo to get Mane in as third Liverpool player. I'm not overly keen on any of that. Barnes is an issue today. If you like it as a punt, fine, it might hurt you today. That's the only thing I'd say on that, Nicky. But yeah, I think I probably prefer that option than the downgrade. Pete Haley, hi James, and looking to boost or triple captain in game week 19. I have two options to take. Son out for Johnston. Take Son out for Johnston. That's not working. Adams and Maddison for the bench boot. I'm sorry, Pete, I'm confused. Please get that message in again, my friend. Padam, well, congratulations. You just got muted. Cyrus Barnard, I took out Richarlison out for Wood, 1.6 million bank, got Bamford, DCL, Salah captain. Information period, I have Bowen and Soufal, also Dunk and Welbeck. So which choose you think should be in the team? Get rid of that Brighton stuff, mate, unless you're heading for game week 18. The thing is, even if you're heading for 18, right, I've got fucking Man City away. Who gives a shit? Do you want it? Mustafa Eagle, hi James, I'm really struggling with this. Chilwell Johnston or James Fabianski on wildcard. Why can't you go James and Johnston and hold the money? That's the advice, genuinely. Paul Sweeney, afternoon James, best Vestergaard Lamptey replacement, only one transfer, 1.9 million in the banks. Thanks, pal. Strategy is obviously dependent, Paul, like it is for everybody, but I wouldn't sweat to have to spend that money immediately. You obviously can't get to a Trent or Robertson by the looks of it on that. Genuinely, I'd look at Charlie Taylor as your immediate to fix your problem. Leave that money, reassess at the weekend. Tom Bolton says Rashford and Che Adams for Son and Rodrigo. Question. Bench boost 19. Worried by Rashford's shoulder and Rodrigo's minutes. Well, there you go, Tom. I think you've answered it yourself there, mate. I don't need to add comment. Ethan Williams, KDB to Mane, as I'm sick of him. Or sick of Deb. I think that's meant to be sick of KDB. Crack on then, Ethan. Stian says, start Giroud or Podence. Yes, save Giroud. I think you've every expectation and belief that Giroud starts today, Stian, so yeah, I'd go Giroud. Hugh Jas. Who scores more over 16, 17 and 19? KDB, Mane or Son? Mane. T-Tac, I'm going double Liverpool defence and double West Ham defence with Justin. Shano83, hi James. Think Son captain, but do you think he could be rotated? I think he plays. I think Son and Kane play the games for Spurs. I don't think rotation is going to be an issue. Should be fine. I think they'll play. 20 minutes to deadline, guys. There is a good chance at this stage that I will not get to your questions, so apologies in advance, but I will get through these as quickly as I can. Ali Ship says, hi James, looking to ditch KDB this week, Mane and Justin James or Rashford and Robbo. Worried Rashford minutes could be managed with the injury, so again, solution, don't feel you have to spend all that money immediately. Can you go Robertson and have someone in as a placeholder for Rashford, like a Rafinha or a Harrison? Don't be frightened to leave that 4 million for a week or so. It's fine. Great Del Mondo, Taylor or Ajayi? Morning, James. It's got to be Taylor at the moment, mate. HK, although I spoke highly of Ajayi last night, and he will get some goals for West Brom. I predicted last night we'll get 4 goals between now and the end of the season. He will get some goals. He's also 4.8 million West Brom defender. It's not ideal. HK, got to sell either DCL or Grealish to get in a double game week player. Whom should I get rid of and whom do I replace it with? Well, I presume then you've got 2 free transfers if you've got to make the move. I think coming off DCL is the right time now. Bamford would be priority number 1. Then obviously you've got the likes of Adams, Chris Wood, for example. I'd be making that move. I'd just make the one, and then that perhaps gives you more information next week to understand perhaps if Grealish to Rashford is viable, for example. T-Tac, Balbuena or Lodson. It comes with I wouldn't want the double of either currently. If it's a choice of having one or the other, I would probably go Balbuena, actually. If it's thinking through to 19, I'd probably go Balbuena. I've just got a small concern on Matt Lowton. Information period, why Vardy is not an option for captaincy. To be honest, mate, I wouldn't have had Jamie Vardy in the top 20 this week, mate. Rune Edwards, Martinez or Johnston. For what? Play? Buy? I think Johnston will answer both. Mustafa says, hi James, I'm really struggling with this. Chilwell, Johnston or James Fabianski on wildcard. Why do I feel like I've already answered this? I feel like I have. Is that another repeater? I'm sure I've already answered that. Said Johnston and James. Taz, hi James, Dyer or Stones? Depends what your plan is. Obviously they're both only single fixtures in 19. Short term, Eric Dyer appeals actually. With the fixtures coming up, potentially, yes. If I was buying one, it would be John Stones. William Jones says, hi James, hope you're okay, mate. What do you make of this -8? KDB, Watkins and Matic to Rafinha, Kane and Robertson. I don't mind it, but do we need a -8 there? Do we need a -8? You probably do. If you're getting a captaincy out of Kane, then I think, yes, it's okay. Kafal Duggan, hi James, Justin or Taylor? Taylor for me on the short term. Mahesh says, hey James, swap KDB for Fernandes or wait another game week. I think it's reasonable to make the switch at the moment. But just know that at some point soon, KDB will go mental. Absolutely convinced of it. Fernandes' consistency is incredible though. Wolves, we know how good they are defensively, but they were bad at Liverpool when they were opened up, and it's obviously a very quick turnaround for them. United have got the advantage of an extra sort of 32 hours rest on Wolves, and I don't think Wolves are capable of rotating at the moment because they just don't have the squad depth. So I think it's very reasonable to make the move. Abu says, how about Martinelli? Very reasonable. He's I spoke highly of him on the podcast last night. Brings great energy to Arsenal. Very reasonable shout. Oh, wow. Look at all these questions. We're never getting through all of them, are we? Anybody in capital letter? I've just seen one there. Hi, you mate with capital letters asking the question 100 times earlier. You might as well jump off the stream, make sure questions are not getting covered. I don't mean that harshly. Yeah, I'm never getting through all these questions, am I? Bloody hell. There's fucking loads of them. Yeah, guys, I wouldn't ask any more questions. I'm not going to get to you. Right, who have we got? Darius Lee. Oh, FPL Escapades. Good morning, James. Greetings from the Escapades family. Thanks. One in, one goes. Fabio Silva, a good budget option. Reasonable if you head into 18. Grekler, who would you play at Sufel KWP? I would pick KWP. Darius Lee. Hi James, are you concerned that your wildcard team doesn't have City or Spurs coverage after the double game week? That's why I'm keeping Diaz and Kane. Martinez too good to drop plus value. I will probably steam into Man City in game week 20. I'll have 3 of them for game week 18 on free hit, and I'm missing Everton away and Chelsea away. I'm not that bothered. Mustafa says, you can do one as well, mate. No offence, pal. I can't be having this repeat shit. You're blocking other people's questions. Anuj says, hi James, thinking of bringing in Rafinha and Kane for KDB. Should I take out DCL or Adams for a -4? Strategy dependent as well, but obviously I don't mind removing DCL in that circumstance. Max ML, Werner and Grealish to Kane and Rafinha. Good luck, James. Ian Colborne. Serge Aurier and Matt Doherty. Who do you reckon is Jose's preferred at the moment? Serge Aurier. Although he obviously had the car crash moment at Leicester, so he might have really given Mourinho the hump. And Mourinho did withdraw him with half hour to go with that game as well, so there could be a little bit of teaching him a lesson in this. Doherty was okay at Wolves last night. It was okay. Aurier would still be the preference currently, though. Thank you, JK. Stephen Hutchinson, morning, James. Hope you're well. Don't think it will matter in the end. We need to pick one to start. DCL, it's going to be the forward, mate. DCL. Shano83, best Grealish replacement in your opinion? I have Souček already. I'd come down towards Rafinha, spread the money later. Doesn't have to be spread now. FPL Escapade, Son, Kane, Bruno. Who would you captain, James? Come on, my friend. Bottom right-hand corner. From that lot, it would actually be Harry Kane. Jonathan Ajal, Captain Son, good for you. Ritwick, feels weird benching Souček, Soufal and Balbuena. Who should I play out of defence? Yeah, you've got it right, mate. JK, great for your midfield. Darius Lee, also thoughts on Robbo v Rashford. That's ultimately my decision on wildcard. I'm going to be Robertson, mate. James Bennett, McNaughty, Kane, Conser, Bowen, Grealish out. Soufal, Dallas, Son, Souček in, -8 points, -0.8 million net loss. Thoughts? It sounds big, and it also felt like a lot to read. I'm not big on that, to be honest, James. FPL Gents, best combo, Wood and Rashford or Kane and Souček? Kane and Souček, my friend. Besma, morning, can I have Ben Rama? Should I move him on or not? You have Ben Rama. I actually think there's a possibility he plays this weekend. It's probably not going to help you, but I would be looking for alternatives. Good one, I think. If you've got one, roll the transfer. Patrick Moore, should I have DCL on the team today? Yeah, if you own him. FPL Andy, cheers James, good luck this week. Thank you. Aviz, hi James, is Bellerin a better pick for the next 2 game weeks over Stones? Not in my opinion. Optimus Prime said Mane and Martial versus Kane and Son for the next 2 game weeks. I go with the Spurs boys. Oh no, Mane and Martial. Sorry, I read it as Rashford and Martial in my head. Mane and Martial. Yeah, fuck it. Go Mane and Martial, mate. FPL Escapades. Any updates on the Burnley Man United game being moved to game week 18? Extremely unlikely. We're talking about next... Well, actually, game week 18... Yeah, that is a possibility. We're talking... The decision would need to be made soon. We're talking just over 2 weeks. I strongly believe that it won't happen. I think if it was going to happen, it would have happened very quickly after United beat Everton. It's now been 5 days since that game, and I know, yeah, Christmas Day and all that shit, but it don't take 2 minutes to send a fucking tweet out and say the fixture's been moved, or pre-plan to know that if United had beat Everton, that fixture was going to happen. The fixtures were broken into 2 game weeks in the first instance for the TV broadcasters Sky and BT to be able to show 10 midweek games at unique times, i.e. not kicking off at the same time. That was always the idea and the strategy behind this. If United and Burnley went into game week 18, it has to be on the Wednesday, and it will clash with Aston Villa versus Tottenham or Man City versus Brighton. I don't think it will happen. Mustafa Hassan, Son, Salah, Bruno or Alba? Question. Put it this way, I thought it would happen. I'd have thrown 3 Man United players and Nick Pope in my wildcard. Son, Salah, Bruno or Aubameyang? Who to captain? Bottom right hand corner is a strong clue there, Mustafa. Even top right hand corner. Beard and Chill, Webster or Dunk, mate? Fucking neither. Pushcar, which 2 out should I start? Dallas, Taylor or Stones? Play Taylor and Stones, mate. FPL Ibro, another one. James, do you play Johnston? I've had this one a few times, mate. Jens Sveen, I've wildcarded and have both West Ham United and Southampton assets. Both defensive and offensive. Do I think goals both ways, clean sheet both ways, faults? It depends on the players you've got, right? So I've got Souček against McCarthy this game week. It's not ideal, but on what I've got, they're both the right selections for my team. If one of them returns and the other doesn't, I'll take that right now. I do like an all-in strategy. So if you're sitting there with like McCarthy, Adams, Bednarek, and you've got 2 West Ham players, excuse me, I like the idea of an all-in on Southampton. But it depends what the rest of your bench looks like, right? Toxic Samurai, who do I bench? Grealish, Rafinha or DCL? Rafinha. Jonathan, Zaha or Sigurdsson? Oh, someone's planning for game week 18 there by the sounds of it. Zaha, on the fact that that's likely to be a rotated Leicester team today, in my opinion. Sheffield United next. Arsenal away. I mean, it's not the fixture that it was. He's scored in that fixture before a few times. So, Zaha, actually. Don't like it, though. Amen. Patrick, we're going to skip captaincy questions. Clues on your screen. Mustafa, I have Bamford and Adams. Need one more striker on a 6.9 million for game week 19. I think you'll be heading for Chris Wood, Mustafa. Vikram says, hi James, 10 minutes to deadline, guys. Best midfielder below 6 million. Already have 2 leads. Does Rafinha still make sense? Yes, he probably does. If you don't have Thomas Souček, that's fairly obvious. Zdravko Dobrev, great name. Hi James, need to bench 1. Taylor, Justin, Soufal, Wood, Cancelo. Soufal, but there's every chance you'll need him anyway. Salmon says, any thoughts on Che Adams? Yeah, he's in my team. Omar, do you think Salah may blank this week too? Salah could blank in any week. He can score in any week. What an amazing question. Hans-Petter Forsterson, James out, knee injury. Is that official, is it? Okay, cool. I'm not sure if it is. So check Ben Dinnery's timelines, the best thing to do, guys, or fantasy football scouts. Mr. Alif Fatik, Grealish and Brewster to Kane for until game week 19. Any other mid for a hit? Souček if you haven't got. It sounds like you're trying to force Harry Kane in though, mate, and I wouldn't. Salmon, yeah, thanks for repeat questions. That's the end of you as well. No offence, mate. Mirza, KDB, Grealish, target out, Mane and Robbo and Rafinha in, -4. Think it's a bench boost game week 19 or KDB and target out in Robbo and Son, no hits. Fucking hell, Mirza, there's so much going on there, mate. I just want you to go for the decision that makes you happy. Opus, the temptation for a differential Kane captain is so strong this week, but I'm a chicken, so it's got to be Salah. Loads are going to captain Harry Kane. Loads will captain Harry Kane, honestly. FPL Marking Coyote, hi James, do you think City keep clean sheet in next 2? Yes, today. Jandra, start Ayling or Wilson? Wilson, mate. On pens, that Liverpool backline, despite everything I say, you play Wilson. Sjan, long term, have Martinez, but feel I need a second keeper. Currently bottom, but want to upgrade. Who? Johnston, Areola, any of these guys. McCarthy, you can go to any of them. Meslier, all reasonable. Z21293, hi James, Mane versus Kane for this game week. We'll move Mane to Son next week for Leeds. Okay. Ray Karashi, hey Marathon Man. Hello pal. KDB, DCL target out for Vardy, Souček and Robbo. Thoughts on building those changes leading to double game week, no hits. Good luck for the game week, lad. My thoughts are that you will end up taking hits. But yeah, all reasonable, mate. Sai Surya, which 2 out of Cancelo, Taylor, Cresswell, KWP to play? You probably got the theme by this now. It'll be Cancelo and Taylor. Hose says, start Justin or Cresswell. Help, please. To be honest, I'd play Cresswell. Patrick Moore, when is the double game week? Game week 19. Darius Lee, hi James, thoughts on Rashford versus Robbo? Feel like I've done this one, Darius. Josh Riddle, Vestergaard to Diaz, free transfer. Very reasonable. Ash, what's been your go-to drink whilst being off alcohol? Water. Barak Turan, do I play KDB? Well, you can't bench the bastard. Jandre, hi James, do I start Wilson or Ayling? Come on man, let's not have these repeat questions please guys. Paolo, Gatti, De Bruyne or Sterling, the more attacking threat? Seems like KDB is being pushed back towards midfield more. I think it's the opposite actually. He goes looking for the ball from very advanced positions. I would prefer him to play deeper. He'd actually probably be a bigger FPL threat. It would still be KDB for myself though. Full-time talk, thank you, wishes, no probs. Barak, hi James, once will do mate. Omar, do you think Salah may blank this week too? It wasn't funny the first time, mate, so did you think it was going to be funny the second time? Ajaya, KDB and DCL to Kane and Son is a good idea. I mean, yes, reasonable, particularly if it's for 2 threes as well. Pups, hey James, 2 questions about who to start this game if you don't mind. Dallas or Taylor, Saka or Souček. The latter in both, Taylor and Souček. Jonathan Brown, is KDB to Fernandes just points chasing? Surely KDB will haul soon. Surely. Yeah, Bruno's got Villa and Wolves. KDB's got Everton and Chelsea. What's your strategy? If you're heading towards double in 19, it's very straightforward, I think. Bruno and Salah are the 2 premiums right now that everyone wants. And with this, considering that they both got a double game week in game week 19, that is not going to change for a while unless one of them gets injured. FPL Najib, hi James, Rodrigo or Wood on wildcard? I'd go Wood actually. I'm not big on Rodrigo. I know the stats are great, wicked. Mikey, can we ignore Liverpool defence on wildcard? Plan to wait and reassess? Of course you can. That's your choice. Sabisi 1, which 2 to start? Bamford, Souček, Adams. From that you bench Souček. Pepsi, hi James. Vardy for who in Sky? 5 minutes to FPL deadline. Let's come back to that one. Pop it in the chat again because I'll skip all the questions at 5:30. 5 minutes to deadline. Patrick Moore, is there any point changing team for game week 18? That's personal preference, mate. In my opinion, yes. Mr. Aliphatic, Grealish and Brewster, I think we've done that one. HM, we're not doing that one. No, I have Mendy, but he's not getting me points. Tell me a goalkeeper to transfer in for Mendy. Sam Johnston, you just feel better. Aleko, KDB, Brewster, Zuma out, Sufal, Sun, Vardy in for a -8. Free hit 18. Yeah, okay, pull the trigger. Hi James, play Mesley or Johnson this week, James. Go Mesley, eh? Paolo Gatti, KDB or Sterling, who has more attacking returns. KDB more in midfield now. As I just said, prefer KDB. Don't waste a BC, I've got the spammers, mate. And after the chat, I'd just go back and have a look through. And anybody's asked the same question twice, you just get muted permanently. I can't bother. It's no offence, guys. So you've got your own opportunity now. If you've asked the same question twice, go back through your messages and delete them. And then I understand that you understood. Kartik says, Dallas or Justin? It's going to be Dallas for me this week. Sam says, hello, James. Would you sell KDB for a hit? If you would sell, who for? Concerned of having no Spurs. And if that's the case, you're thinking Son, for example. Nah, don't bother. Roll out the week and then get up to Fernandes if you can. Opus, thoughts on starting Suchet over Calvert-Lewin this week? Completely understand a lot of people would want to do that. Anybody who watches these streams consistently will know I will always say pick forward. Healy's vid, start Martinez or Johnston when playing Bamford. That would make me want to lean into Martinez. Genuinely it would. No, bro, I'm confused. Where are you reading from? Can't see any of the questions from here being answered. That's because he's first come, first served, and I go from the top, my friend. Mustafa says Salah, Auba or Son to captain. Bottom right hand corner, Mustafa. Come on, my friend. Andrew Tavi. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for answering, mate. Amarcia, Stones versus Everton. Good shout. Decent. Rajan. Should I start Grealish or James? You don't bench Jack Grealish, mate. Rowan S, non-FPL question. If Spurs could sign one of David Brooks or Ben White, who would you prefer at Spurs? Also, what are your views on Levy and his leadership at the club? Short and sweet, Ben White, but I don't think he's impressed at Brighton as much as I thought he would. Javinho 99, hi James, luck in the wild card, best of luck with it. Would you take a -4 to upgrade Forster to Pope? Start ahead of Martinez due to the better fixtures, and Pope to Fabianski for double game week 19. No, it sounds like there's too much going on there. I would not take the hit, and I would just try and get that move to Fabianski either next week or the week after. Edom says, a game week 18-19 team, which trio? Chelsea midfielder, Mount, Pulisic, Ziyech. I'd punt Pulisic, but I wouldn't want any of them at the moment. And DCL, plus Rodrigo / Adams, or Adams and Vardy and Rafinha. Adams, Vardy, Rafinha. Beard and Chill, Man City performance so poor recently, I reckon draw, but Gylfi scored though. You mean the Man City that have only conceded one goal since they lost to Tottenham, and that was a fluky own goal. Sayage, bench Taylor or KWP. You got to play Taylor, I think. Karim, striker suggestions for under 7.5. Already have Bamford and Calvert-Lewin. 2 minutes to deadline, guys. For me, still Che Adams. It's decent value. TJ Dara, hey James, thinking of getting rid of Son following game week 19. Who would you go for who's around the same price until 26? Well, I can't really answer that because I don't know what 26 is going to look like. But at the same price, Marcus Rashford will walk into Sheffield United at home in game week 20. Same price, basically. Stian Bodstall, by the way, last week I wrote on your DLS that I was looking forward to putting the last nail in Arteta's coffin. Then he hits me over the head with a hammer. That's what I get for being a cocky bastard. Yeah, that happens to me all the time as well, mate. Amarcha, Alioski or Diaz in the first 11? Diaz. Yansky afternoon, James. Ings to Bamford from -4. Having shitty luck with my Southampton transfers with immediate injuries. Yeah, I think get it done, mate. John Dean. Hi, James. Who would you bench out of Chilwell and Dallas? I would bench Dallas. Yansky, Sufel coming from bench. Connor, Saka and Martinelli. I would still prefer Saka at the moment. On Demu, the answer is no. Sartak, by Dyer or Region? Dyer. James Brennan, hi James, on my wild card, what's your thoughts on going with Firmino this week? And then it's fine, someone else wanted to do the same. FPL Soccer Crazy, gone with Kane captain today, considering he hasn't scored for some time. What do you think? I think, mate, the deadline has passed, and therefore you're locked in. Oh, and I wanted to make changes to my wildcard team as well, but I was too busy. Guys, thanks for all the questions. Really busy in here. For those in new, Genuinely, the repeat questions are a pain in the arse. Just please delete them. Once will do, and I'll get there, because genuinely, I will go from the top. I go first come, first served, and I will answer questions from the start. That's how I do it. Do you know what? You might not like it, but that's what's happening. Pilo's Pen says, Pranath needs a ban. I mean, it might have happened. I don't know. Right, guys, I'll hang around for 10 minutes or so. If you've got any questions that are non-FPL, I'm happy to obviously answer them. I've skipped all the questions already in the chat. Thanks so much for contributions. I wish you all very good luck for the game week. Hopefully the questions I answered for others will have helped you find your own solutions as well. But if you've got any other questions you want to ask that are non-FPL, I'm happy to answer them for 10 minutes or so. But deadline is gone. JK says, great stream, James. You thinking of bringing City defenders post double game week? I'm thinking of Cancelo, Diaz. Yeah, well, we'll see where we are when we get there. John Stones might be 25% owned by then. Keep it halal. I chose Martinelli because he was clearly the best player for us since he came back, and he's a bit more attacking. That's fine. Lamici, thoughts on Chelsea's form? Abysmal. New signings haven't done as well as I think many of us thought they would do. I warned several weeks back when they kept having all them clean sheets that to look at the fixtures are not easy, and they're not out the woods of that yet. Villa, City, even Fulham away in the double. It's Fulham's derby, right? Leicester away, Wolves at home, okay, Burnley at home, then it's Tottenham away. They're not out the woods of these fixtures yet either. Since I can't believe that Chelsea got a double game week and I've got no interest in any of their players, and that's the way I'm heading. So Reese James is the one I'd want the most. It might come back around for me that I want Christian Pulisic, possibly. At the moment, I got none, and I wouldn't be surprised if I go into game week 19 with none. Just not bothered. Expect a rotated team today as well. I think Lampard has confirmed that Callum Hudson-Odoi will play, and I know if rotation FPL, our Chelsea correspondent, is very hopeful that it will play. Peter G, Sky question, best Arsenal player for single game days? Well, the best one will be Aubameyang, most likely. I think there was a process where Gabriel's passing tiers were calming down anyway because Arsenal were trying to move the ball quicker and also were happy to sit off a lot more when other teams had the ball. So I think it was leaning that way that Gabriel wasn't looking as good as an asset as he might have done previously. The best solution right now is, I think, make the transfer on the day. What I've learned is I'm just walking into problem after problem after problem, and the problem is not through my own doing, it's through fucking injuries, just non-stop. So I'm looking to get myself in a position today which essentially leaves my team dead, and I'll buy a player in game week 18 when they play Palace on that evening. I'll just choose which one to buy. The most likely is that I will probably still go for Gabriel, but I would probably be happy to go KDB to Aubameyang on and off for the two fixtures because there's two captaincies. Effectively, then it's a 4-for-1, and then go back. But I'll make that decision when I get there. If I get forced in when I've got an injury somewhere and that just makes my decision easy, that's what it's going to be. It's just too many issues with injuries at the moment. You can plan for whatever you want. I spent ages planning on Saturday night a rethought plan because of the Gabriel issue, and then got to exactly what I wanted. Made a transfer, bought Meslier in yesterday, which allowed me to move money for what I wanted to do, and then Matip got injured yesterday. So then I need to work another plan. And to be honest, I haven't had time to put that plan together. I do know what transfers I'm making though, but on this one, I'm keeping it to myself. Ryan Walker, good luck, James, mate. Jovial, what is your current rank in Sky? What is your transfer strategy in the coming weeks? I'm only joking. I won't keep it to myself. I'm buying Diaz and Stones today in Sky to replace Gabriel and Matip. That's what I'm doing. So I've gone from the Liverpool differential of the defensive having Matip done me a brilliant job. Obviously, if Matip looked like it was going to be a 13-pointer yesterday, plus Robertson clean sheet, I would have ended up having a brilliant week. I'm up to 67th. In what felt like a bad week, and now I'm steaming into it again through having to. It's the best solution for me, and I know that Diaz and Stones might both not play tonight, and if that's the case and Stones is suddenly out the team again, then that's my obvious move to Gabriel for the Palace game, sorted, isn't it? But I'm gonna go and do it. I need a differential. People are starting to move into the moves I'd made. Like, felt like loads of people bought Bamford yesterday. I've had him for about a month. So I want to move again into City. Waste no time, take advantage, get it done. I realise there's no fixture gains, but it's just been a clusterfuck of a weekend with injuries, and it's got to get done. Ryan Walker, good luck, James. Bossman525, Spurs seem to get older. Yep. Every game since 1990, not missed a single one until COVID. So yeah, hopefully back soon. Beard and Shield, do you think Arsenal will be relegated? No. Daniel Pedersen, cheers James, thanks for another great stream, you're very welcome. Savanch, what's your best FPL rank? So the best FPL rank was 21k in not the Leicester title winning year, the year after, 16-17, when Kane and Ali and all that were going off. And the remarkable thing about that year, finishing 21k, I went into game week 37, I was about 7k, but I didn't have Spurs players all season. Those who know me longer will know I had a thing where I was like, I'll jinx these bastards. So I was going into game week 37, I was about 7k, and obviously Kane went fucking mental, didn't he? Scored 8 goals between game week 37 and game week 38. So yeah, I ended up finishing 21k. Jake Powell, great job and concept as always, James. You're very welcome. Thank you, Stian. End up KWP over Chilwell. Good luck. I am thoughts on Jose's comments post game. Can I be very honest with you? I was working till 3:30 last night because not only the podcast we did for you guys, we did a podcast for the patrons as well, and I had a team news article I had to write for patrons as well. So I was up very late. I haven't even seen them yet, but I understand he was potentially quite critical of them not doing what he was asking. Sometimes that prick needs to take some ownership of his own fucking issues. There is no way that they have consistently played game after game holding on to a 1-0 lead and it's got nothing to do with Mourinho's tactics. I don't believe it. Aninda says, can Aguero be a cover for De Bruyne and should we start getting rid of Grealish? Let the game week go now, Nadinda. See how you feel afterwards. Another Hoop says, I don't like it. I love it. S. Russon. Hi, James. Who should play as number 9 for Man United for the remainder of the season? I think that depends a lot on Martial's mood and game circumstances. I'm a big fan of Cavani. I think he's a great player. Generally, that would be the answer as long as he's fit, etc. But the pace of Martial in certain game situations is far more beneficial to United. It's not an easy one. Joe Finney, that's what you're spending the 50k on. Giving 10k to Suj. And the rest of the 40k is probably going on fixing up this fucking house, to be honest with you. Nasu says, I haven't started counting yet, Joe. Nasu said, as a Suchek owner, which team you think he's more likely to score, which teams suffer a lot from crosses, etc. So, I mean, there's certain other ones like Leeds. To be honest, Brighton's arguably another one. They had a bad set-piece record, but they hadn't conceded one from a set-piece, I think, for a while, other than the Vestergaard goal. And it felt like they were improving in that area. I don't think there's a science in it, Nasu, to be honest. We can all look at that theory and go, yeah, Suchek versus Leeds, more chance. Then you looked at Burnley yesterday and thought all the same, wouldn't you? Like if you had a Tarkovsky or something yesterday, you'd have thought, oh, great. But didn't score, did he? So that theory is all great in principle. Yes, teams who are weak at set pieces and struggle from crosses, yes, there's a greater chance of him scoring. But Fulham, he ended up side-footing it home from a knockdown, didn't he? Eric says, chip strategy is hot these days. However, what is your dip strategy? My dip strategy is food into sauce. I don't really know how else to explain that. Radio Canlon. I'm sitting for 18 hours straight planning transfers. 2 minutes to deadline. I'm still clueless. Sleep you might find helps, mate. Pups, non-FPL question. What happened to Stephen Corker? He was player of the year on loan at my team, Bristol City. Then disappeared. Thought he'd play for England one day. He did play for England and he scored for England. I think him and Francis Jeffers are the only 2 players to ever play only once for England, score and be on the losing side. Francis Jeffers was against Australia in 2003. Stephen Corker, that must have been 2012, 13 roughly. Last I heard, he went to Turkey, I believe. And then I think he was at Dundee, I want to say, in Scotland. But I'd need to check that out. There was some off-field stuff, and I think he struggled a bit mentally and stuff. Jerry Millen, Lineker and Gascoigne or Kane and Son? Oh, wow, what a brilliant question that is. Lineker and Gascoigne, because Gascoigne would have to be in there. Genuinely, so that pairing. Lineker was such an elite finisher. Kenneth, is picking Maddison over Vardy worthy? I need to spare some cash. Deadline's gone, Kenneth. Healy's vids, who could Sheffield United sign to keep them in the league? Would one clinical striker be enough? So Chris Wilder's talked about getting 2 players in on loan. I mean, that's really not going to do the damage, is it? JK, how many points you expected from Spurs over the next 4 games, which given an unexpected result yesterday? Do you think Mourinho will go for it at these games? Surely he recognises this. What do I think from Spurs in the next 4 games? I'll go for 8 points. I'm demanding 12. We need to get 12 points to get back to 2 points a game, and then we've got Liverpool afterwards. So for me to get back to where I feel comfortable, which is 2 points a game, we need to win 4 games in a row. So I need 12 points from these 4 games before we play Liverpool. 8 is the prediction. I wouldn't be surprised if that's 7. Jonathan Brown, currently 19k overall, never been this high. What's the best way to maintain? Keep doing what you're doing, mate. So BC1, James, if you were a Chelsea fan, would you be Lampard out? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Ray Crashy, going to get into Football Manager 21, lad? I'd love to, Ray. That game needs time. I don't have it. Tom Bolton, thanks, James. Brilliant content. As always, good luck on the wildcard, you two. Tom Shamil, just want to understand your thinking on something. If you think Man City keep a clean sheet, why do you think DCL should still start in FPL teams? Same goes for Liverpool defence versus Wilson, etc., etc. Really simple, Sham. I could be wrong. And that's it. It's the understanding that, yeah, I've got an opinion. I think X will keep a clean sheet. But it's just as much probability that I'll be wrong. For example, I think, genuinely, take my prediction, if you listen to the advanced tier, or the intermediate tier anyway, Patreon podcast that we released last night, Sham, come on, you're paying for this shit. I predicted Liverpool to win 5-1. Callum Wilson might get that goal for Newcastle. I think City will win 2-0. But am I leaving DCL out? No. Might be on the pens as well at the moment, if Sigurdsson's not on the pitch, which I don't think that's necessarily unlikely, considering he struggled for fitness over the last couple of years and he's just played 90 minutes away to Sheffield United. So he could be withdrawn early, he could be used as a substitute. I think there's a good chance Bernard plays this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Sigurdsson's not in the Everton team today. So he could even be on pens as well. So it's the understanding, Sham, that I have an opinion, but my opinion can be completely wrong. Just like shortly, we're going to see the Leicester team. And they might all be playing. I might have been completely wrong. Manav says, any double game week players who's worthwhile to get in for Son. Budget around 10 million with Salah, Bruno, Grealish already in. It'll probably be Rashford. It's probably where you'll end up. Guys, a lot of questions in here, guys. Right, no more questions, please, guys. I'll just rattle through these. Lewis C. Hello, mate. What's your chip strategy? Free hit 18, double game week 19. Patrick Lawson. How many points do you think City will get away to Everton and Chelsea next 4 in all comps? His season disappointing for City, I reckon. I think they'll win today. If they win at Chelsea, they're really back in the race. Josh Riddle saying Matip is out for 3-4 months. Wow, that's harsh. Suresh, how are you planning game week? I just answered that. Philly, Abraham for Wilson. Deadline's gone, mate. And no, I wouldn't make that move anyway. Can't be having Abraham and Giroud while they're both fit. Rohannes, what do you think about players like Wilshere and Sturridge self-destructing and disappearing from the scene? Sounds like a podcast, that, mate. I don't think I've got time now, Rowan, but it's a really good question. I think, look, players' personal circumstance, what happens? Sturridge has been, to be honest, with both of those cases, they've both obviously had really bad injuries, and that's what's happened. As much as I take the piss out of Wilshere and stuff, it's the injuries that's fucked him. And I think because of the injuries, then there's a spiral with the off-the-field stuff. Daniel Sturridge obviously had an issue with gambling, but I don't think it was a massive issue. I don't think it was actually an addiction there or anything like that. So Daniel Sturridge really feels like one because of injuries has been affected. Kenneth says, hi James, I'm planning for the double game weeks, picking Maddison over Vardy worthy. I think we've done this one, Kenneth. Jeremy Lord has finished 100k and 6k last 2 seasons, currently 3.9 millionth. The whole game is luck. It's not quite all luck. Matthias says, hi James, does Liverpool need to buy a centre-back in January? If so, who would be your choice? Would have been Vestergaard if he didn't get injured as well. But that's just perfect for them, is Vestergaard, generally. If they can manage through the next month without, genuinely, I've already started that rumour a few weeks ago. Liverpool do have to buy a defender though, and I'd be amazed if they don't. So, for those who've only got 2 and aiming for game week 19 bench boost, you never know, there might be one in between now and then. Kenneth Kiplagat, thoughts on Fabianski and Pope for double game week? Reasonable, a little expensive for that pairing, but reasonable. You're going to want to come off afterwards. Joe Finney Badder, make sure you're off before 2 p.m. when Vardy's on the team sheet. I will, Joe, I'm leaving now. Rohan says, Albury or Sterling for a 1 week punt for game week 18. Would prefer Aubameyang. And Sean Murphy, you get the last comment, my friend. Happy New Year to you and your family, James. Thanks for all you do. And Happy New Year to all of you as well. Deadline's obviously gone. Good luck for the game week. Got another 3 days of it. Content, we've got a Tottenham podcast tomorrow, which is available free to everybody. It's coming off Patreon this week. A review of Tottenham and West Ham's 2020. Probably going to be some ranting from me and Suj. I imagine Suj is going to be more positive about it than me. Wednesday, Sky podcast. Thursday, full review of game week 16. Full podcast for you again. Friday, the deadline is early. It's 4 p.m. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to do Ask James, but what I might do, I haven't decided yet. I might do the stream Thursday night and then obviously put the audio out overnight. But I will do a deadline stream again. I guess it's going to be 3 o'clock, isn't it, on Friday on New Year's Day. But I will do it again. It might be fun to do the Ask James on Thursday night because it's New Year's Eve. If I do, it will probably be about 8 p.m. UK time. But if you follow my social media, Planet FPL Pod, I'll obviously communicate what's happening with that during the week. Patrons, full week of podcasts to come. I wish you all very good luck for the game week. Hope your arrows are green. I'm now off to see how strong this Leicester team is. Good luck, everyone. Ciao for now.